Quick live stream. I record as a backup, so you're free to start. Did you hear me? You're muted.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Jeremy?
You're recording, so you're good.
Okay, great. Okay, good evening. This is Housing, Land Use and Sanitation Committee meeting. It's October 21st. And we are starting our meeting at 6:23. We're gonna do some introductions. I'm Juanita Ranzel, co-chair of Housing.
Christina Stevens, I'm your member, Housing.
And then there's Dewan Jones, he's over there, Committee of Housing.
And you have Cynthia Rodriguez here, the chair of the board.
That's it, that's online. Dewan, you wanna read the conduct statement?
Conduct statement, the Community Board 11 meetings must be held in a professional and hostile-free environment. The following rules of conduct are applicable to members of the public, Community Board 11, Community Board 11 staff. Any action or behavior that disrupts or interferes with Community Board 11 business will not be tolerated during any Community Board 11 meeting and may result in the individual being asked to leave if the action or behavior continues. This may be considered disrupting the peace and the appropriate authorities may be announced. If the meeting is held remotely, the person may be muted or expelled for the remainder of the meeting. Repeated violations by the same person or group of people may result in further action by the community board. All public speakers must address the full board or the committee with their concern. What is that? Electioneering for a position other than an officer of Community Board 11 is prohibited. Engaging in acts of violence, including threats or grounds for immediate suspension of the right to attend meetings pending review by the Ethics and Discriminatory Committee. Respect for equality, diversity, and privacy of all persons by respecting and valuing differences of culture and opinion. Refrain from unpleasant or disparaging remarks and other actions. Abstain from all forms of harassment by actively discouraging them. Disseminating false information is prohibited.
That is our conduct statement. Moving on, review of minute meetings. We don't have any minute meetings. I don't think, Cynthia, you have anything?
I'm looking now. I had sent some stuff over a while back. They're in the process of uploading them now, so I don't think we have anything current.
Okay. So we'll move on to, we have a presentation tonight. Have a few. We have Propel New York Energy, and then we have Montefiori's large scale plan. So we'll start with Propel's New York Energy, and Leah, right, is gonna share the slide.
Yes, Leah Cossack will share the slides from WSP, and we have Philip
And
Ellison
so,
from the New York Power Authority who will also assist with the presentation.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just a setup.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can see the screen, Leah.
Great.
Philip, let me just, by way of just introducing us in the project to the members here in the community board. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jose Rodriguez. I'm with Bolton St. John's. We are the consultant of record, public relations and government relations firm for the Propel New York project. Propel New York is an energy transmission retrofitting transmission project that will cover Westchester, Long Island, Queens, as well as the Bronx, I should say, I'm sorry. And again, as I indicated, it's, this particular project is made up of three organizations. We have the New York Power Authority, Transco, which is electric transmission company in the state of New York, as well as WSP, which is the engineer of record, along with this project. That being said, I'd like to introduce my colleague here, Jamal Wilkerson, who's part of the Propel project, as well as our other colleagues who are joining us virtually, Philip Ellison from New York Power Authority, as well as Leah Kosick from WSP. Jamal? Oh, it's Philip, right?
Yep.
Philip, the
Philip.
floor is yours.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have my camera off just to make sure that we don't have any issues. It keeps going in and out, so just want to make sure. So pleasure to be here with you. We can go to the next slide and I'll begin the presentation and be mindful of time. So again, my name is Philip Ellison. I work at the New York Power Authority on the legislative and stakeholder affairs side of the organization. And I just want to take a moment to kind of introduce you to the three entities that are working together in this public-private partnership to execute this transmission line project. So what is Propel New York? It is comprised of the New York Power Authority. It's the largest state public power utility in the U.S. We operate 17 generating facilities, and we operate about 1,500 plus miles of transmission lines, which I like to call and refer to as the electric highways. Right? We generate 25% of the state's energy, and 80% of that power is clean, renewable energy, hydropower. Hydroelectric is also what some people refer to that as. On the other side of this public-private partnership is our private sector partner, New York Transco. They are a New York-based developer, owner, and operator of bulk electric transmission lines. And they own and operate nearly 120 miles of transmission lines in New York and several substations. And our third entity that is in collaboration and supporting the execution of this project is WSP. They are headquartered in New York City. They are helping clients plan and execute complex energy projects since the early 1900s. And they're a leader in designing and maintaining power transmission systems throughout the world. So really what you have is three entities coming together with deep expertise and experience in building and operating transmission lines. Next slide. So let's talk about a bit about Propel New York and the process of energy delivery. And we'll start on the top of who we are not and what we actually are. So what we are not is, we're not a battery storage project. We're not an offshore wind project. We're not tied actually to any one generation source of energy. And we are permitted through the Rapid Act. So that's to accelerate the permitting and execution of these major infrastructure projects like transmission lines. And I'll take a moment to say, what are we? You know, how we view ourselves. We are a core infrastructure for all generation sources, right? It can be any generation source, and transmission line will be able to plug into it and be a key part of that energy delivery. We are an underground electric transmission project, which we can talk about why it's underground versus overground. And we are a project that benefits local areas and the state. And we're permitted through the New York State Article 7 process, which you'll hear a little more about. On the bottom, let me walk you through the energy delivery chain, right? You see on the left, you'll see any one generation source, solar, wind, geothermal underground, etc. And it will plug into that yellow, which the submarine cables, depending on if it's what type of energy source, will plug into the substation, which will increase the voltage of electricity. So you see that substation there, and then it will send it across the transmission line, right, long distances to another substation, which will then lower the energy for delivery to customers. Right, and that delivery through that network will go to the distribution lines that will carry electricity to homes and customers, and the transformer on that distribution pole will then lower the voltage further before entering the end user or the customer. So that's really giving you a sense of the energy delivery chain. Next slide. So briefly, why is, transmission is core infrastructure, and why are we doing this? It's vital infrastructure for the 21st century, right? The reality is energy and power are critical components to a daily life 24/7, 365. As I mentioned, they are the essential highways that transport energy, right? And every $1 invested yields $2.40 in economic activity, as stated and researched by the 2011 Brattle Report. And it really is about supporting local and family sustaining jobs. But the reality, why do we need this improvement? It's aging infrastructure. 80% of New York State transmission lines were built and came into operation before the 1980s. With the increase in demand, 50 to 90% growth in the next 20 years in regards to electricity demand. Electrification, there's an increased dependency on electric vehicles in certain areas. But also, if you think about your homes, right, what kind of electric devices you had when you were growing up versus what you have in your home now, right? There's an increase of electric devices, also adding to that. Extreme weather, more and more frequent, ferocious storms that are leaving us vulnerable, versus needing to update this electric grid and transmission lines underground. And just like our own highways, our highways for cars and vehicles, the electric highways, the transmission lines, there are bottlenecks on the existing network or the grid, So energy is not moving as efficiently. Next slide. Can we see the next slide by chance? Okay.
It might be a little
Thank
delayed.
you. So I also want to. Okay, apologize, Leo. That might just be me. I see it now. Thank you. So according to the NISO reliability report, and for those who don't know, who aren't working on energy day to day, which I imagine most of you, the NISO is the New York Independent Service Operator. They are really the ones who operate and manage our grid. They do a lot of assessments to understand where the need and bottlenecks and challenges with our energy grid. They did a short-term assessment, reliability assessment. What it found is that in New York City in 2026 and Long Island in 2077, that with these other projects, the Champlain Hudson Power Express, another line of energy, Empire Wind, Sunrise Wind, that we're going to be entering a time that's going to meet our electricity demand for some time, but also, given the demand is going to continue to increase for energy and electricity, there's going to be reliability. The reliability margins are going to decrease. So there's going to be challenges with our reliability. And so we need to continue to make sure that we build our transmission lines and transmission network, given that demand on the grid. And with that, and maybe delayed, with that, I'm going to pass it to my colleagues, Jamal Wilkerson from New York Transco, and I hope you have a good evening. Thank you.
Alrighty. So, thanks, Phil. So the New York System Independent Operator, basically in 2021, the PSC identified the need for this project. In the summer of 2021 through June 2023, the NISO ended up selecting us, the Propel project, to actually implement this project. So the goal here is ultimately to bolster the reliability and resiliency, unbottle the constraints, expand the transfer capabilities within New York State, and facilitate the transition to clean energy. As you see here on the map, from the red and blue circles, that is pretty much the bottlenecking of the electricity. So basically, just think of the Cross Bronx Expressway at 4 p.m. through 6 p.m. where it is the most congested, and that is how our lines are actually. You have a lot of people using a lot of energy at the end of the day. And obviously even more so with AI data centers coming online and so forth. So all those things are starting to really jam up the energy that we have. This is why this project is so needed at this point in time. And that's why the NISO put out that statement letting them know, hey, with the report that we need more energy coming into New York City, or else we could be looking at blackouts. That's pretty much the long and short of it. Next slide. Oh, already up. So the project is a 90-mile transmission project. We're doing 6 new 345 kV lines and 1 new 138 kV line. Now, one thing that's really special about this project is that the lines are bidirectional. So basically, if the Bronx needs more energy, it can get more energy. If Queens needs more energy, the energy can be shifted down into Queens, and so forth with Westchester County or the Long Island as well. This at the end of the day would create a 345 kV resilient backbone. It would be greater system reliability, resiliency, and redundancy. Now, the goal of the construction is to start next year in 2026 and to end in 2030. And at the end of the day, to bring it in operation by May of 2030. That's the ultimate goal here. It's a 4-year project, and again, 90 miles. Right. So this is the Propel New York, our routing and potential refinements to this project here. Currently, we're past step 1, the preliminary routes. We're currently in step 2 and 3, looking at viable alternative routing as well as preferred project routes. And then we can go into the permitted routing. So what we're going through is the Article 7, and that would bring it, that's how we're actually bringing this project to fruition. So next slide, please. So if you can see here, the routing in the Bronx. It's a 4-mile stretch that we'll be going through. The neighborhoods of Castle Hill, Unionport, Morris Park, Parkchester, Pelham Parkway, Van Ness, and Westchester Square. This shows the routing. This is preliminary currently. So we're still looking at tweaks and so forth. So we're going to change it on over to the variable alternatives. So as you can see here, we have 1 and 2, brown and yellow. This would avoid the congestion of existing infrastructure along Zariga Avenue. Now, if we are going with number 3 in the black, it would avoid Ferry Point Park's recreational areas, temporary construction impact, limited to access the roads, maintain buffer areas with the Whitestone Bridge, reflective of feedback that we have gotten from New York City Parks Department as well as the MTA. So that is more than likely the route that we may end up taking, but it is not it's not done yet. So we're still looking at that as yes. It is definitely a possibility. Next. Thank you. So we are going to go through the this is just pretty much a quick little diagram of how we plan on doing it. We'll be going about anywhere between 50 to 150 feet a day. We're looking at to restore the road surface, restore the road bed, backfill, select the backfill, the conduit for the power cable, and then thermal backfill, or we use concrete to do that. The trench ultimately will be 5 to 6 feet wide, and a minimum cover of at least 3 feet, but we can end up going deeper into the ground if need be. Each cable is between 3 to 5 meters in diameter. Details vary depending on where we're ultimately digging. So for the sensitive areas, we have what's called HDD drilling. This is horizontal drilling. It's trenchless technology. It's been used since the 1970s to install underground utilities to avoid disruption of sensitive areas. planned for use in various Propel New York City, New York routing areas. So as you can see here, like going in there, certain road beds and so forth, just to make sure that we're not disturbing anything that doesn't need to be disturbed. Right. So as stated before, we were selected in 2021. The NISO selection happened. We're currently in the pre-permitting stage. We've been doing the outreach, as you know. We've been reaching out to local, state, and federal officials, municipal boards, community boards, neighborhoods, and residents, as well, community groups, NGOs, business, and labor as well. The permitting of the Article 7 is what we're going through currently. We have not started construction yet. Going through the permitting of the Article 7 takes an estimated 2 years. So next year, we would be finished with that permitting part. The construction and restoration would start in 2026, as stated earlier, and we're looking at the in-service date of May 2030. So very briefly, the Article 7 is how a lot of this type of work gets done when it comes to transmission projects and so forth. So you submit the application, procedural conference, public statements, hearings that were held back in June and April of 2025. Certificate would be issued by the PSC. The environmental management and construction plan would have to be filed. Environmental management and construction plan reviewed and approval, and then notice to proceed for construction. So there's several steps why it takes about 2 years to actually go through everything. Now, this has been a 6,000 page proposal that we put forth with 15 exhibits, environmental review components, engineering components, proposed routing, and public outreach. It does have a case number, so anyone can actually look up what we filed online, which is the 24T0446 application. So if you don't mind going through all 6,000 pages, totally transparent, you can go through it. All right. So early, often, inclusive basically is our motto here at the end of the day. We have been reaching out to different community stakeholders, again, from the community boards to civic associations, to business associations, elected officials, of course, and just trying to reach as many people as possible. We've had over 2,500 touch points with stakeholders. We've already gotten 1,000+ support letters for the Article 7 filings. We even came up with public inquiry lines as well. The 1-800 number, the toll-free number. Propel New York, our energy website, as well as we're on social media, as you can see here as well. So, and also info at Propel as well. So this way, folks can reach out to us at any point in time. So what we've also done here is there's a lot of things that are put out there about projects, and so we decided to come up with community safe fact sheets, myth busting fact sheets, what submarine construction, because we will be in the water in some parts of this as well. So we just want to let people know what's real and what's not at the end of the day, so they can read up on it themselves and see, hey, this project is safe, it is something that we need, and so forth. So anything that, because people love to they put out fake stuff, so then you have to debunk it. So in this case, we're trying to think ahead of time to make sure that those things are debunked. Alrighty. So we can see here we have a diverse group of supporters from union support, the IBEW Local 3, to the different chambers, from Westchester to Yonkers, Greater Jamaica Development Corporation. You have U.S. representatives Congressman Meeks, Jamal Bowman, Suffolk County Legislator, Bronx Borough President's Office, Queensborough President's Office, and different environmental groups, as well as different civic associations, as well as hospital systems, have all come on board, because at the end of the day, if the power goes down, that's not going to be helpful for anybody. So that's one thing we are trying to get ahead of, even though right now, again, we're a little behind that timeline since this report has just come out. So we want to make sure that we're up on it, because I don't think anyone wants rolling blackouts. So, all right. So we've launched the business outreach. We've done surveys in August of 2025. We've hit about 2,000 plus businesses abutting the route, as well as in New Rochelle and in Nassau County. We've hit folks with direct mailers of 140 abutting businesses. Again, we're really just trying to promote what we're doing. Unlike a lot of other utility projects, we don't want to just show up in front of people's businesses, home, front door, and you're looking like we don't know what's going on. So that's why the outreach has been really critical, even if we've had to kind of do our own little door knocking, as they would say. So we're making sure that the chambers are included in the different business councils. So, last but not least, for the most part, we've even come up with the Propel New York Energy mobile app. So we've taken it a step further, and you can find us in the Google App Store as well as Apple Store. So this way, the fact sheets are right at your fingertips. This way, you know when we're doing the construction, when we're being your part of town and so forth, because we're not going to be any one place for 4 years. The entire project is 4 years. So we may be in and out of the Bronx, let's say 6 months to a year, for example, but keeping it moving. It might be even shorter than that, but I'm just throwing that out there. So no one place but so long. And this is one way you can definitely keep contact of how we're moving, what we're doing. And if you have any questions, we'll always be keeping in touch back and forth with the community board anyway. So this way, you know what's going on at all points in time, unlike other projects that. And I used to work for the city council, so I know how that is.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Not a problem. We also have a very quick video. You can play on that.
There we go.
I don't think we can hear
We
it.
can't hear it.
No.
Maybe she needs to unmute herself. Well,
I can try sharing my sound. Hold on.
That wasn't her sound, by the way.
Well, in the meantime, does anyone have any questions
Please.
while Leah tries to get her screen, her sound?
Let me know if you guys can hear this now.
Move. We need an electric grid that will propel us and our economy forward.
and we just.
Every time we flip on the lights, take the train to work, or visit Main Street, there's a network of electric transmission lines working behind the scenes to power our communities. The grid is the unsung hero in our daily lives. It keeps our phones charged, our lights on, and our businesses and hospitals running, even during emergencies. The grid plays a major role in supporting the health, safety, and security of our communities.
More and more, New York is going to have a greater energy demand, and we have to meet that demand.
With growing demand and an aging electric grid, this core electricity infrastructure needs an upgrade. Meet Propel New York Energy, an innovative underground electric transmission project to bolster grid reliability and resiliency across New York. Propel New York Energy will build 90 miles of new underground and submarine transmission lines across parts of Long Island, New York City, and Westchester County, and will create new pathways to deliver energy to where it's needed, when it's needed.
So electric transmission is akin to the highway, and that highway line is taking you long distances efficiently to a distribution substation where it's then stepped down and moved into your local area.
What this does is allow energy to flow in each direction, depending on where the generation sources are and where the load sources are on any particular day, but effectively will produce a more reliable and resilient grid for all of New York.
The grid is going to need a lot more transmission to alleviate congestion and a lot more generation as well to fill the needs of all New Yorkers and our growing electrical demand.
Why now? Demand for energy is increasing rapidly. Our grid needs to keep pace. 80% of our existing transmission infrastructure was built before 1980, when floppy disk, pagers, and fax machines were the latest innovations. New York has a rich history of building modern infrastructure to benefit all New Yorkers. Propel New York Energy is more than an infrastructure project. It's a critical investment in communities across the state for today and tomorrow.
For local 1049 members, it creates work for our members and maintenance down the line. But on top of it, it could create more business here on Long Island and create more jobs for Long Island because businesses will want to come here if they know that the infrastructure is strong.
Together, we can deliver an energy future you can rely on.
We need to upgrade our grid. A better grid will provide better opportunities for growth.
Just like our roads and our structures in our homes, we need to update our energy grid.
Whether you're making pizza or serving pasta, or whatever you're doing, we want to get that switch and make sure that's reliable and consistent.
Must. It is not an option. We must have a modern grid system.
This project will benefit business homeowners on Long Island and our members, especially who live on Long Island and work on Long Island.
It's got to happen. If we're going to recruit and retain businesses in Westchester County, we need to demonstrate to employers that we have a reliable and affordable grid.
I'm happy to be a part of the project. I'm happy to live in the project's backyard. And I think this project will ultimately serve benefits to all of New York for many years to come.
To learn more about Propel New York Energy, visit propelnyenergy.com. Get in touch with us to learn more and to lend your voice to this crucial investment in our state's infrastructure.
Thank you, Leah. Do we have any questions? Kay, see your hand is raised.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry I was a little late coming to the meeting. And I, for some reason, was on YouTube and had to sign out and come on Google. Because on YouTube, I can usually just type in the comments. But for some reason, the screen was different today. Anyway, enough of that. I wanted to thank these guys for coming and doing the presentation. I sat through another meeting. I don't remember if it was the Bronx River Alliance or Parks about a year ago. I don't know if Project Renewal is the same group of people, but they made a similar presentation on the, in redoing the power grid. I just wanted to thank them for the presentation. And yeah, it's a long time in the coming, a long time. We have a lot of people living here, mostly downstate here in New York, and people are constantly with computers and air conditioners and all the modern things we have today, pulling so much more power. In this apartment, I haven't lost power once, but when I lived on the Parkway itself, sometimes I would lose power for a while. So I just want to say I really appreciate the board for doing, allowing these people to do the presentation. And I want to thank the people that made the presentation. And that's
Thanks,
it.
Kay. Thanks, Kay.
You're welcome.
Cynthia?
Thank you for coming. I'm sorry I wasn't there in person today. Just wasn't feeling 100%. But I do remember you guys came last year. I don't remember the WSP as part of it last year. Is this a new addition to the project? Can
No.
you give me a little clarification on that?
No, they're the engineers of record.
They've always been a part of it.
They've always been from the door, a part of it.
We may have changed the deck to, it's been an evolving deck, so to speak. Every time we meet with someone, something new happens, and there's some good input from community and stakeholders that we include that in our deck.
Got it. Thank you.
Robert Press?
Yeah, question. Isn't this just for Community Board 10 and 11 and not the rest of New York City and mainly for Long Island because that's what the energy need is going to be out in Long Island because of all the increased construction?
No, this actually affects Nassau County, Suffolk County, parts of Queens, parts of the Bronx, as well as Westchester County. So it expands. That's why it's 90 miles.
Right, but it's mainly for transmission to Nassau and Suffolk County rather than back because that's where the energy is needed.
No, that's why it's bi-directional with the lines. Because wherever the energy need is, we'll be able to actually get the energy to going to where it's needed. So if the Bronx needs more energy at any point in time, it would be able to get that energy more efficiently.
And
more
one
directly.
final question. This is for all of the Bronx or just parts of the Bronx?
Now, this is for all of the Bronx at the end of the day. There's still more work to be
At the
done.
end of the day.
Yes, there's still more work to be done because this is a 90-mile project and kind of a kickoff when it comes to doing this type of work, but it is definitely needed.
And you're going to all Bronx community boards, correct?
No, we are going through where the line is going through.
So it's for selected areas.
Part of
Thank
the
you.
community board, the line hits 10 and what's
Community boards 9, 10, and 11 are the community boards that we've been speaking to because that's where the scope of work will be in. But once this project is completed, the entire borough of the Bronx, as well as New York City, Westchester County, Long Island, Nassau, Suffolk, etc., will benefit from the retrofitting of our transmission lines.
Okay. Cynthia, is there any questions in the chat? Can you see? Okay, thank you. Well, we want to thank you guys for coming. I know I have your contact, means you emailed the presentation. It was a great presentation. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so moving on. We have Montefiere's large scale plan. Diaz here. With the rest of his colleagues. Fine, thank you.
I was able to plug my laptop into the.
Hi Cynthia, I'm the Madam Chair.
See if you can plug it right there.
But I don't remember how we.
Juanita?
Cynthia, yes.
The most important question I forgot to ask the folks from Propel is I'm assuming you are going to want a letter of support or a vote from us on this, and
Yes,
what
we will.
is your timeline for that?
So, since we're currently in the Article 7 process, right? We are asking for letters of support. Excuse me for not asking. Shame on me, bad. Shame on me for not asking. But yes, we would like a letter of support from the community board. And the timeline is anytime, within this month would be great if we can get that letter so we can include that in our Article 7 submission so that we received letters of support from the Borough President's office, from Councilmember Farias's office, as well as Community Board 10. We were at Community Board 9 last month, but we had there was an issue with some of the technology, so we have to go back. And then when we do go back, that we're gonna ask them for a letter of support as well. So more than happy to come back to the full board if necessary for the full letter of support. And obviously, we'll always come back, as this project is going on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So would it be possible to get the meeting invite, then I can just join remotely?
Jose, before you go,
Yes, ma'am. No, go ahead. I'll be
sorry.
back.
Can you make sure that we get a copy of the presentation?
I did. I sent it to the board office this afternoon.
Perfect.
If
Thank
they
you.
didn't receive it, I'll forward it again tonight.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So, this is my second go around. The last time we were here, it was, are there any folks here who weren't here the last time the first time we came around?
I think most of them are new faces for you. Yeah.
All right, so then I'm gonna sort of rehash a little bit and then take us to why we're here today. That's
Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're just waiting for Christina Grimes to get us up, but she's from, and I'll do some introductions just so that we can, for the sake of time. She's with NBBJ, so is Tim Johnson over here.
Hello.
We have Adam Taubman, who is with Kramer Levin, who is so these are our consultants. And then Prisca Salazar Rodriguez is also from Bolton St. John. She's sort of our community consultant, and she also lives in the community. Just to sort of bring you up to speed, since I left the board presidency, and my job, and it's good to be back. My job now is I'm the senior vice president at Montague. And I know very little about running a healthcare system, but Dr. Oswald has me there because we know that in order for us to continue to provide better services, and we believe we provide great services, but we could get better, especially when we have overcrowding in our emergency rooms. We're a victim of our own success. Everybody comes to us. We believe the time has come as we move forward that we need to expand and build a new facility. And so in my capacity as a former Bronx Borough president, he brought me in because I understand how to, the whole process of rezoning. And you all know that I've been known to do big items. One of the big items that we were able to accomplish while I was a borough president was the financing of the 4 Metro North stations. Yeah. So there's one at Van Ness Parkchester, there's one in Hunts Point, Co-op City, and of course Morris Park. The one on Morris Park is right across the street from what we call our East Campus, the Weiler campus. We always call it the Einstein. So when you go to the hospital to us, you can say, I'm going to Einstein. But we also have the West Campus, which is the Moses building, which is, the West is our oldest campus, is where it all started in the Bronx. And so with the rezoning that we've experienced last year in that whole area, some of it benefited Montefiore, but we did not catch the area that we discussed the first time that we came here, and the area that we're discussing tonight, so that we can be able to see how we can bring a newer state-of-the-art, what we call, best-in-class facility in the future. And I don't know, Christina, are we on?
I need the host to allow me permission to share content. Cynthia, are you the host or Jeremy?
You should just be able to hit the share button on the bottom.
When I click share, it says we can't display your shared content. Make sure that you're allowed permission to share content and then try again.
All right, give me a second. Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
Try now.
Nope.
Let's see.
Technology never works with you.
I don't know if you can make me the host. Sometimes that works.
I can't. Let me see if I can get Jeremy. Give me 1 second.
Okay. I'm gonna mute us.
Hi, Christina?
Yep.
All right, so you're trying to share and it's not working for you?
Yeah, it says we can't display your shared content. Make sure that you've allowed permission to share content and then try again.
So when you click share, what it should give you an option of what you want to share.
Yeah, I don't know if you can.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can see, but more importantly, when you click share, you don't
It
get that
says,
right away.
click share to share the content in the meeting. What do you want to share? And I click opt,
Okay.
and it says optimize for text and images, and I click share again, and it says we can't display your shared content. Make sure that you've allowed permission to share content and try again.
Click a host.
No, it shouldn't be. I mean, like, Cynthia, like, well, hold on. Maybe I'll make you a co-host, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference. It should make a difference. So try it now.
Nope. Captions.
So so it's on your laptop, or you have it on a USB?
It's on my laptop.
Okay.
Last time I was able to use it's got the buttons, the Mini Pro thing over here. And I was
Okay.
able to plug into that. I have an HDMI adapter. I just don't know what to unplug to use.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't know. And you didn't try sharing it last time, right?
I feel like we plugged in last time.
We did.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely plugged in last time.
Now, you're using a WebEx app. You're using the browser.
I'm in the browser.
So maybe you need to use the app. There is a difference I've noticed between functionality between the app, and it's just going to take a while for you to download it if you don't have it downloaded.
Is it something that you can email me and I'll try sharing on my end?
It's 110 megs.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it'll be faster for me to try and download the app.
It'll be like, what is it, the dial?
Oh, yeah. Back to the power conversation on the previous one.
But you're connected to the internet, was it?
I'm using my phone as a hotspot.
Okay. I mean, I can, if it's helpful, I could give you the Wi-Fi. I can give you our Wi-Fi password, but it's still bad back there. It's my laptop usually doesn't work back there.
I'm at
the Wi-Fi.
32% for the installing the WebEx.
Okay. So that's good.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're good.
Let's move on.
So, I'll do, so what happened was that when we came the last time and understand, we're part, and we want to get into a second ULURP. Usually, when we have a ULURP process, folks come to the community board or a developer comes to the community board during the process. We didn't do that. We started out, the ULURP process that we want to get into now won't be certified until next year, August next year, late summer next year. We've already made our first round with the borough president, all of the elected officials, the community board, Morris Park Homeowners Association, Van Ness, so on and so forth. We did a first round last year. This is our second round based on some of the things that we heard in the first round, which we want to share with you, including what your chairwoman and other chairs of all the other committees said. The reality is that when you look at the Bronx, 1 out of every 4 adult who has a job is employed by the healthcare system. Montefiore Einstein is the largest employer. But with that said, we still lag behind on several things, health outcomes. And also when you compare the Bronx to like Manhattan, we still don't have enough jobs in the healthcare system as you see in Manhattan. So even though 1 out of every 4 adults has a job here, we could do even better. And so what we want to do is create a facility where we create jobs, where we have state-of-the-art facilities so that we can get the very best in class in services. Christina, we see you on the.
I'm hopefully getting closer. I think we're getting closer here.
But also what we want to do is we want to make sure that, okay, here we go.
It's, you know,
It was the app.
it was the app.
It was the app.
Okay, so.
This is progress.
So if you look at, like the average life expectancy in the Bronx, 80 years compared to like Manhattan, we still, see that 8 out of 12 of our community districts have a life expectancy lower than New York City. We want to change that. We need to change that. Manhattan has twice the number of healthcare workers per 100,000 residents than the Bronx does. We want to change that. We want to do it in a way, next slide. And I'm going to go through some of the stuff. So we want to, if you look, we want to do it in a way where we also develop the workforce in healthcare in the Bronx. The city of New York is doing 5 STEAM centers: STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, 1 in every borough. In Brooklyn, they already have one in the last couple of years. And every STEAM center has a theme to it. So the one in Brooklyn is for green technology and culinary. The one in Queens is going to be aeronautics for airports, airplanes, and stuff. The one in the Bronx is going to be life sciences and healthcare. And the STEAM center is a center for high school students where it's not a high school. You have in the Bronx, we already have 10 applicants in the STEAM center already started in this September. 10 schools identify students whose passion is in these fields, and then they start sending them into the STEAM center. The STEAM center gets all, it'll be for us, it's going to happen at the Hutch Metro Center. Joe Simone is building out the STEAM center. The actual permanent structure is going to be over 40,000 square feet. It's not finished, so they're using the Mercy College campus there in order to do so. But we Montefiore Einstein, signed an MOU with the city of New York, with the public school system, and we're like the sponsoring entity. And what this STEAM center will do is everything from X-ray technician to MRI technicians to nurses to scientists to doctors. This becomes like the AAA. This becomes like the NCAA. This becomes a farm system for the workforce in the future. Finally, ultimately, the left hand is going to know what the right hand is doing. We're going to send kids our children through this avenue with a light at the end of the tunnel. And so what the other thing that happened for us, great news last year, one of our board members, her husband passed away, one of the wealthiest men in the world. And he left her a lot of money, and she did some great things with some of her money. One of them is that she announced a $1 billion gift to Einstein College of Medicine. So from now on, every student that goes to Albert Einstein College of Medicine, which is on our campus, is going to go tuition free. This is not a scholarship for some students. It's for everybody, which means 2 things. Number one, that means that the whole world, when they want to get into sciences and become doctors, instead of going to Cornell or to NYU and possibly spending $200,000-$300,000 a year in their education, they're going to want to apply to us because they want to have a free tuition. So we're going to get the very best in the world. But 2, what we have to be mindful of is whether or not Bronx boys and girls are going to be able to accept this free rider as well. The STEAM Center allows for us to identify early on, right, in the 10th, 11th grade, 12th grade, who are the most talented students. So while we're still doing the X-ray technicians and while we're still doing all, everything else, we still we need to identify the elite of those students so that they can be put through it, because it would be shame on us if we have all these great minds and all this great, free tuition, but none of them are Bronx kids. We can't accept that. I would not want to be a part of that. And so what you get here is the future of Morris Park. There's a lot going on. And this is the reason why I came to, and I've been coming to the community early. You have the 4 Metro North Station that's going on. Because of that, you have the rezoning. The rezoning has the potentiality of having a lot of, taller buildings over on East Chester Road. Of course, at the Hutch Metro side, Joe Simone can do as of right. He run an RFP. He has 2.2 million square feet. Of all the stuff that you see in the Hutch Metro Center, he can still build an additional 2.2 million square feet of development there, which he plans to do so. Now, in the past, for us, what you've seen is the 2 towers. When you go to Metro Center, you see the Montefiore Towers. We don't own those buildings. We lease them from him. So he would love to build stuff and have us lease to him in perpetuity. We don't want to do that. We want to have our own facility. So which brings us here today next. So what we came to the last time is we made a presentation and we've been going around, and basically you can go, let's move to the next slide. We wanted to make sure that people understood that when we want to build a new facility, go back, and then I'll throw it to you. We wanted to make sure that people understood that we wanted and needed new FAR up here by Tenbrook. Okay, and we understood also that the building is a very large building. And that's why we came to folks, the reality is we can't knock down the current existing building. We not. Think about what's going on in the airports, where they renovated the airports, gave new terminals, all the while being consistent with all the services. We got to do the same thing. We plan to do the same thing. And so with that said, what we want to do is build a new facility with the blessing of the community, but do it in a way where we're just not building a facility, where we're building something that's as good, if not better, than any facility in the country. We put together the A team. They're the ones who looked at other parts. They looked at what's called best in class. And so, Christina, tell them why.
So, Ruben already touched a little bit on the emergency department, but some of the key areas that the existing Weiler campus just really can't accommodate are all private patient rooms, the operating rooms and interventional rooms, robotic rooms for surgery, and then making sure that there's privacy and other components in the emergency room with enough throughput so that everyone can be seen in a reasonable amount of time. These are some images about what those spaces can look like and what other hospitals are building. You can see they're very light, they're bright. They have high floor to floor, which is, the space between the floor and what you see here, but also then the space above the ceiling. A lot of modern patient rooms have booms, which are actually similar to what you're seeing here, but those gases hang from the ceiling. You can't put any of that in the existing Weiler because of the floor to floor heights that are there in the existing hospital. So that's part of what's driving the height. And then the other component is just that floor area and the space that we need to make sure that there's enough ED treatment rooms. It's a close to doubling of the emergency department in the sizes that we're looking at, and it relocates that entire emergency department into the footprint of the new advanced care pavilion. Again, to make sure that that area, it's such an entry point for so many people into the hospital system, and making sure that that's just as good as the front door, which is also a new front door as part of the project too. But also that the ambulances don't have to go up a weird hill and turn around if there's room, and if not, back down and hopefully not run into another ambulance on the way out. All of these are things that are part of the modernization and the upgrades that would be in the new advanced care.
We have a question from Kay.
Kay, you have a question?
Yes, sorry, I thought it was going to be in the gallery session. I didn't mean to interrupt your presentation. So I am like literally right down the street from the Tenbrook location. Where exactly on Tenbrook? Because I'm on Van Nest. So the only viable option is by Newport, where the parking lot is for the, where we have the community board meetings. I don't see any other available space. And then the other thing is, how tall of a building are you talking about? Because we have
Okay.
private houses here. We don't want to lose what daylight we have.
Hello, Kate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Let us finish and then you'll see, all we're doing is bringing you up to speed from the presentation that we gave the first time. And then all of the concerns that we heard from the community, and then you'll see where we are today, okay?
Okay, no, I didn't think I was going to be called onto the gallery. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're the first to get called on once we're done, okay?
Okay, thanks.
All right, so if you look at the timeline, again, we wasn't playing around. We know, based on my previous life as the borough president, I know that you have to respect the community. So we started back in August of 24 with the Department of City Planning, having informational meetings. We spoke to the councilwoman back in November of 24. State Senator in December. Again, we continue to meet with all of the blues or the agency meeting. The Assembly member, John Sakaro, back in December. The borough president in January. The other Assembly member who touches this area back in January. The list goes on and on. We came to the community board in March. We went to Van Ness Neighborhood Association in March. We even saw the city council land use chair. We did the Morris Park back in February. So we've been going around, not only meeting with the agencies, but also speaking to all the stakeholders and showing them what we initially came up with. So we want to speed some of that up because this is what we first came up with. Show them the first structure. This is the first structure that we came up with. And so this first structure was 450 feet high, 454 feet high, which is a big structure. But we're here, we wanted to provide parking. This was called the podium. We went around, if you look, many people gave us different opinions of what they thought. These are some of the quotes from the people at Van Ness at that association meeting when we came here. Let's see, next. John Sakaro, he of course, had his trepidations and concerns, but he was like, if the Bronx wants to fight, if we really want to fight, if we truly want the Bronx, that we fight for month after month, year after year. If we want investment, if we want world-class doctors, if we want our children to stay and thrive here, then these are the kinds of projects that we have to consider seriously. So let's keep going. Your chairwoman, she gave us a pretty good, she said, I think it's easy, it's an easy sell for us. Seriously, we complain about the facilities, but I can't complain about waiting hours in the ER or being 3 stretchers deep and then say no to a better facility. So by and large, no one told us no way, no how. But everyone had concerns about the size of the structure, just like Kay, and everyone had parking issues and traffic issues and so on and so forth, and jobs and so on and so forth. But the reality is this: the reality is that every time I go around, I ask people, "Are you privately insured?" Right. So Montefiore is unlike the other big organizations like Presbyterian and Northwell. Montefiore, our mission has always been over 80% of the people that we see, they are publicly insured. That's Medicaid, Medicare. When you publicly insure, when you have Medicaid, Medicare, the system only gets like 70 something cents, like 80 cents on the dollar in reimbursement. So no matter what we put out, if we put out $1 for your health care, and we do all the services that this patient needs, the state on Medicaid only gives us like 81 cents on the dollar. So there's always a little discrepancy. And that discrepancy, we either have to make it up or ultimately we wind up shortchanging the amount of services or the type of services because of equipment and so on and so forth. So therefore, the others is that we need publicly insured. So with the publicly insured, if you have, like United Healthcare, Blue Cross, all that stuff, that's publicly insured. So we wind up charging you more than $1 on the dollar to make up the difference, to make up that gap. You follow me? Yes. So that we can continue to provide the services. Now, The other big healthcare industries, they're the opposite. They 80% of the people they serve are publicly insured. So they're charging $2, $3, 2,000 change on a dollar, and then they only have maybe 15, 17% of publicly insured folks. Follow me so far? Yes. We never want to decrease the amount of publicly insured for. That's our mission. What we want to do also is increase the amount of privately insured. And the reality is that folks who are bus drivers and teachers and lawyers and doctors, we have that in the Bronx. We have professionals and they're privately insured. And just like people in my family, you must have people in your family that when you're privately insured and unfortunately something goes bad, where do you go? You go to the White Plains or you go to Manhattan. Let's not front. Yes?
Yep.
So we need to have a facility where we attract the best doctors, where we have a nice facility with the best equipment, so that if you're privately insured and you live in the Bronx and something bad happens, I don't want you to go to Manhattan. I don't want you to go to White Plains. We want you to come to us. Not only because we believe that we have also the best physicians, not only, most importantly, we believe that the Bronx deserves the very best, but also it enables us now to provide the same care that we would give to a privately insured folk, to a publicly insured folk, because now we have the resources. Yes, I agree. Okay? Yeah. So this is why we need to do this, and this called for. I don't know, Christina, do you want to go there?
At the bottom, one of the things you can see is a large increase in the imaging modalities. That's a CT machine for if you're having a stroke. It's an MRI. It's additional dedicated to the emergency department. That's what gets you out faster. When they don't know what's wrong with you, you have to have an X-ray. You have to have a CT. You have to have some sort of diagnostic imaging. But they're big. Right? MRIs are not small things. CT are not small things. Again, all of this is driving the size and the footprint of the building that we need to make sure that all of that is co-located in this new building.
And we have to have serious conversation because this is a monster of a building. Now, if we could just knock everything down, if we had 20 acres of property, we could do a nice facility, best in class, and the facility could be, 6 stories high. Remember that a story for a facility like this is different than a residential story, right? Yes. But the reality is that we can't do that. We have to find within our property, how is it that we can do something here? So next one. And of course we have issues of traffic and parking. How much parking will be provided? Will some of it be available to the local community? What's the traffic impact? Adam will let you know because he worked on the traffic patterns, which is part of what we're asking the city to change as well. So all of these things that people, ask, we took into consideration and we told everyone we will come back and do a second round. And so this is what today is. This is part of our second round. This is not even the official ULURP. We'll come back next year when the ULURP happens again, and there may be even more changes, okay? But we've been respecting everyone now. By the time the ULURP starts, it will be 2 years since we started coming to the community about what is it that we want to do. Thanks. So we already brought you up to speed. Building is ugly, building is big. Nobody was happy with that. No one told us, no way, no how. They just told us, change this, give us more parking, and so on and so forth. Now, I was going back and forth with folks that said, we make the building shorter. By the way, we're not here to fight with anybody. I said this from the start. We're not a big developer. We're not trying to do a casino here. We're not trying to do a luxury hotel here. We here because we believe we need these services, and Dr. Oswald wants to give the Bronx the very best. Now, you can debate with me. I'm not here to fight with anybody, and Dr. O doesn't want to fight with anybody. But the more that we bring the building down, the more that we have to sacrifice something. And we don't want to sacrifice best in class. So we made that abundantly clear, and then we've come up with this.
So this is the existing campus. You can see the Ullman Research Center here. Newport is here, which kind of turns into Van Ness. And Tenbrook runs down the left here. This orange line is the extent of the property that Montefiore owns. So this is the parking lot that you see here. There's also a series of properties over here that we were looking at last time. One of the terms you'll hear is CUP. It's a central utility plant. It's all of the mechanical systems for the hospital. At one point, we were considering that inside this box, and you'll see, I'm gonna play a video here in a second. Ours doesn't have sound, so we don't have to worry about that technical glitch. But some of the other pieces to point out are the block building. This is one building that will come down.
Sometimes you have meetings there, the
Yeah.
block building, you know, the white building in the back up there.
Yeah.
So that's what we call the block building as a little auditorium.
And then here's the existing Weiler Center over here. So with that, I'll play the video, and we can let it play a couple of times as well. But what you see is the block building will come down. And we need that footprint, particularly over here in that area that is also owned by Montefiore, to make sure that we have enough space for the emergency department to
So
fit.
this is where we came up the first go around. This is
Yeah.
what we presented to everyone, all the stakeholders, the big building, 454 feet high. The podium was 134 feet high. Everyone said,
Don't even have.
so what we did now is, okay, we took everybody and said, we cut it down. And we still did, and we shifted it up and
And we have to take down that MRI research building as well. So that's a give back that Montefiore is making. And instead of having 28 beds on a floor, we now have 2 units on a floor. So that drops the height overall. We also shifted the building back. This was part of city planning's request to kind of push it into the courtyard a little bit more. And then that central utility plant, this gray box that you see over here. Oh, we're doing parking first. An additional level of parking is slid in as well. So that actually raised the building a little bit, but because of the beds, we were able to take that central utility plant, also slide that in the middle. And with all those adjustments, we've dropped the building about 100 feet.
so from the last time that we came here, we dropped the building 100 feet. Where's the slide that does the comparison?
It's coming up.
It's coming. Unless somebody wants to see that. Let's show the animated slide again.
Okay, we'll let
And we'll just play it so that you can absorb before we say anything. Just look at it again. The cup, the councilwoman didn't want the cup out there either.
And this is not a particularly small building.
So all of the residents, someone like Katie, wouldn't want that
Right
cup there, so we took it out of there. And you can't build anything there because we wind up taking the FAR from there and put it into this. Make sure you can't build there in the future. And then we also made it look more attractive. The building is more attractive. Before it was like a giant TV screen. And now, and so because of this and the fact that we offset the building, to Kate's point, and I'm gonna have her ask all the questions she wants. The sunlight now travels to a point where there's very little shadow that's cast on the residential side. If anything comes this way and it's cast on our footprint. So the sun comes this way, on this side. This is the residential side. And then it sets over on the east over there, but so. Okay, next slide where you can see the reason why I'm so proud of this is that we went from 26 stories to 20 stories. We went from 454 feet high. We knocked it down by 100 feet. However, we still stay consistent with best in class. We still have 420 single beds. We stayed with that. The genius minds were able to figure this out. We still, the square footage, we asking for 1.6 million square feet in square footage. We still stayed with that. We have, 110,000 square feet of new outpatient care. We still stay with that number. The parking over here was at 600. We increased it to 800. So we can have less faculty park their cars in the community and less community members get upset with us. But we also dedicated 50 of those 800 parking spots to the community. How do we get there? Who gets them? When you can park? Do you have to pay? We'll cross that bridge when we get to it in the next go around. But we certainly want to dedicate to the community. And the car, we integrated into our building so that this eyesore here would not exist. Because that building would have been about how many stories?
6.
About 6 stories. That would have been a big building there. Now you don't have to worry about that. And so we made the building look better. We didn't sacrifice best in class. And so this is what we want to show today is that we listen to, the stakeholders. We're doing our second round and we listen to folks and, we came up with this. Now, I know that we want to also talk about traffic patterns or some of the, this is what we have. This is some renderings that we would have. This is looking up Morris Park. This is looking from across the street on Seminole. Next slide. This is what it would look like. Now, this is the Omen building. It's still a big building. We're not lying about that. It still will be a big structure. But again, the sun would travel this way, come around. This is all the residential. I don't know if Kay lives right here across the street from it. Or, and then once the sun comes this way, the shadow will be cast towards us. And
Thumbs up. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Kay gave us a thumbs up? All right, Kay, thank you. And then what you'll see is, and let's talk about the traffic patterns, and then we can bring it back in so they can see what ambulance and Adam could take over from there.
I think we moved.
The traffic, that was the beginning. That was the beginning. You did that like the second slide. Go back to the beginning.
Hold on a second, I'll jump to the other part. So Morris Park is here. We are bringing the traffic off of Morris Park and onto the property of Montefiore here. So this is the new front door that you see in the yellow. All of the yellow is how we're connecting back into the existing Weiler. So if you've dropped off or are arriving for a patient who may be in the existing hospital, you still have a single front door of entry over here. We do have the walk-in entry for the ED here along that. Adam will describe exactly, I don't want to call it a road. It has a different name. He'll tell you exactly what that pathway is here. Ambulances, instead of coming up off of Sackett this is that spot right now where they kind of come up that emergency ramp.
Like, what is this? We all go there, right? When you go to the emergency room, see how the ambulance got to go up that little hill? Some of them I've seen even have to reverse to get back out. Come on. So we have a solution for that.
So then coming off of Sackett, there is a demapped street here. I'm going to get the words wrong from Adam. And then you come around here also on Montefiore's property into the ambulance bay that would be located here and it would pull off of Tenenbrook so that any sort of ambulance traffic is in the area that's on property owned by Montefiore, not in front of those adjacent houses. So trying to be respectful to the houses that are there, pull that traffic in and underneath the advanced care pavilion to pull it off of Tenenbrook.
So do you want to talk about this little piece right here?
So one of the land use actions for which we need to go through Europe is an amendment to the city map. I don't know if you're familiar with the city map. It's the city's legal document that establishes what's a public right of way for legal purposes. This area here, where the line is sort of faded in color, is what we refer to as a paper street. That means that if you go and look at the city map, it's mapped as a city street, but the city, for whatever reason, never acquired title to the street, never improved it as a street. DOT doesn't operate it as a street. If you go and look at it today, it looks like it's part of the boiler plant facility. There is, however, a pedestrian walkway. It looks like a sidewalk. So one of the actions that we're seeking is an amendment to the city map to demap that street to remove that legal status. This is something that the city agencies are okay with because they're not interested in operating it as a street. But by formally doing that, Montefiore can be assured that they have control over that area and they can open it up for the ambulance access that Christina described just a moment ago. That's really, really important to make sure that the traffic patterns around the campus operate the way that we want them to, with minimal impacts and surrounding traffic conditions. As long as we're talking about the city map amendments, I'll point out that this area here, which Christina noted a moment ago, has a portion of Newport and Van Ness today. We would demap those streets as well to allow the building to have the footprint that's shown here. Those streets that we want to demap are bounded on both sides by Montefiore property. So basically by demapping it, we're able to create a continuous footprint for the building that Montefiore would like to build. Christina noted before that there would be still vehicular access. I refer to that as a private road from time to time. The reason is that it's a piece of land that Montefiore owns today that Montefiore will continue to own. But rather than developing it as part of the building, we would use it as basically a roadway to allow cars that are dropping off visitors at the front entrance or accessing the ED entrance to do so by car and then continue on to Van Ness and access the street network just as they.
Hold right there, Christina, go to the, now, where the brown, yep, the rendering, and this way he can show them what that would look like.
So it's this little
That,
bit, right?
yep,
Right, thanks, Ruben. So this is Pembroke here. This is Morris Park Avenue here, just to orient you. That private drive that I described is where you can see some vehicles here. So, you know, for someone who's walking or driving through the neighborhood, it will look very much like part of the street network. Its primary purpose will be to provide that direct vehicular access to the new building. To be frank, we think it's very unlikely that someone would be interested in using that road for any other reason. There are better ways to get around the surrounding community. But it will look and operate like a street, just in a different location than where it is today.
Okay.
And then show them where the ambulance, the little nook where the ambulance will go underneath the building and not, yeah, they'll come inside so if the Weiler is on that side, that street that we told you that we want to demap, they will come around and go in, instead of being outside in the community, they'll go right into our properties. So that's where we are. Let's go to the timeline now. We moving forward, and then we'll. So this is again, we submitted the pre-application in September of 24. We started in December the interdivisional meetings with the agencies. We don't start the projected public scoping is not until December. Like we're ahead of, you know, we're somewhere here right now, right? We're like right here right now. The certification of the ULURP doesn't start until August, and here is where we are. And then the target approval would be hopefully in spring of 2027 with the blessings of the community board, the city council, the borough board, so on and so forth. Now that would just be the approval of being able to build it. Building it, and when that happens, that's about my pay rate. That's Dr. O and the CFO, and you know, we go from there. So Madam Chair and Madam Chair, you too. You have any questions? I don't know if we want to go back to Kay. I promise that we will get back to her.
Hey, do you have any questions? Or did?
No, I just wanted to make a couple of comments. I'm so glad with this new vision of it, because the original vision was pretty frightening to me and some of my neighbors that are homeowners. I'm a renter. But this new vision that I see here is just a much better option and stuff. And a part of it too is people complain here. I don't own a vehicle, but people complain here that visitors and workers from the hospital park on our block and the surrounding blocks, which makes it difficult, you know, for my neighbors, you know, that are renting, because the owners have their driveways and garages. So that's wonderful. That 800 car garage is just a wonderful thing. The other thing is too, gosh, I can't remember now. I'm blanking out again like last night, but it just, this is a much better plan. You know, not only am I a senior with the Medicare and Medicaid, I'm still working and I work with other seniors. So if I have to bring a patient in by ambulance, it would be nice. I mean, I'm treated well at Einstein and Jacobi. They're usually taken into the trauma bay. They're usually treated right away. They get into some kind of a room. I don't have them hanging out in hallways for days, incontinent and what have you, and being ignored. But it would be nice to know that they, you know, with all these extra beds, that they'll be better cared for. The other thing is too, with the Metro North proposals, right, with the additional housing and other stuff that they're planning on building, one of my biggest concerns was, where are all these people going to go for medical care? If Jacobi and Einstein are already stressed beyond limits, this eases some of my fears that there will be, you know, a lot of extra beds and stuff for them to be. And so that was just really, it alleviates a lot of the concerns that me and my neighbors had. Just wanted to thank you. I'm gonna click off now.
Thank you. I really appreciate those comments because it shows me that folks understand where we started and where we are now. And B, the reason why we are now is because we listened and we took people's criticisms and suggestions extremely serious. And the fact is that, Kay, you can either go to, we still haven't gone to the Morris Park yet. We haven't gone to Van Ness yet. And next year is when we'll do this all over again. So you're gonna have a couple of bites at the apple if something between now and then, strikes you or whatever, you want to bring up or suggestions. But I'm glad that you feel that way, and it shows that we're making headway here.
Robert Press.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Kay. Robert, did you have your hand up?
Yes. So you're gonna tear down the five that are on Tenbrook and Van Ness, correct?
Say that again, Bob?
You're gonna tear down the 5 houses that Montefiore owns on Tenbrook and Van Nest.
Yes.
That's a yes?
Right, Christina? Yes. Are we telling?
Oh, this is the parking lot. Are we actually taking down, it may just be this one.
There's 5 houses that you own.
We're definitely taking down 1, maybe 2. I don't know if we're taking down all 5. Adam, are we taking down all 5?
Well, I don't know how many are there today, but Robert, if you can see the map that's on the screen, everything inside that line is a building that Montefiore owns that would be demolished.
Which is just these 2, I believe, because this is all the parking lot.
There's 5 houses behind the parking lot. The former borough president thought there were only 3 at the last meeting. There's 5.
Okay.
Those aren't.
And
These are remaining.
Then I stand corrected, Bob.
and what is the height of the largest building currently on the campus?
It would be
45 feet.
104. It would be Omen, right? Is it Omen? Yep, 145.
I think you
Way
should.
near the height of this building.
And maybe I think the dorms across the street are even
I
higher.
think something across the
The
street.
dorms are higher across the street.
And
The dorm building.
just so you don't, just for your information, there's a building going up by the station, which is right across the street, of unknown height that was presented to the community board. That's what city planning said, a building of unknown height. So no, the board doesn't know and the community doesn't know how high that building's gonna be. You know,
But you know how high that building's gonna be.
you know how high it's gonna be?
No, you know how high our building's gonna be. That's not Montefiore.
No, but it's adding congestion to the area like you are.
No,
Thank
but
you.
Okay, well, we're adding 100.
By the way, one more question, President Diaz.
That building is adding 800 parking spots. I hope whatever buildings are going up are adding their parking spots as well.
One more question.
Do you know what we're also doing besides adding potential congestion? Is that we're saving lives, Bob.
One more question.
Saving lives. We're gonna, we God forbid, when folks come, they're gonna get, if they need any organ transplants.
What is being moved, Mr. Diaz, what is being moved from the 210th Street campus over to this campus when this building is complete?
We don't know yet.
You don't know, so you are moving stuff from 210th Street over here for this building?
We don't know yet. I didn't say that.
Well, you said you didn't know what you're moving.
We don't know if anything will be moved.
Okay, fine. Thank you. I've gotten my answer.
Thank you, Robert. Anybody else?
Christina, you wanna-
I don't know what his purpose was.
I'm so overjoyed as a past Einstein employee. I'm very familiar with Einstein. I'm so happy to hear about the increase with emergency room because I've worked in the ER a lot. Now, what's why single rooms, no double beds? The new additional rooms I noticed you said all single rooms, so it would just be singles, no consideration.
Just in
for-
class.
Oh, okay.
We want you in the, whether you're a millionaire or not.
You have a room by yourself.
We want you to have the best
Wow,
in class.
interesting.
Yes, okay?
For infection control, especially coming out of, you know,
COVID.
COVID,
You're right.
Got it.
Yeah.
it,
So,
Wow.
it's a,
how many times in my family, my God rest her soul, my wife's grandmother, how many times we been in the ER there? They close the curtain and you rubbing back to back with another family that's there. Yeah, that's. How many times you go into the room upstairs after waiting for how many hours? You know, and we understand that, we're cognizant of it. We want to change that. It's just that we need more. That's why we have to do this. But you know, how many times you have 2 beds in a small room? A lot of times there's 2 beds, and that room should be a single bedroom. But we have 2. Sometimes there's even more, right? And you know, and so you don't have privacy. You don't have control over, you know, germs and. Yes, you're right. You know, so I agree. We're doing single beds so that everyone, no matter what your income status is, no matter whether you're privately insured or publicly insured, when you come to us, you and your family have a state of the art.
And no more beds in the hallway.
Hopefully, no more beds in the hallway. Yeah, yes, no more beds in the hallway.
We have another question. AJ?
What do you
Raymond?
think?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I wanted to know if it's possible for an adaptive reuse of this building, or if you guys know what the carbon emission cost of tearing it down and building it up would be, and if you guys have done a shadow study of the surrounding area just to show that it does not cast shadows on this on these neighbors that are here today. Thank you.
Have we done a study on?
so the first thing I want to say, we're not planning to tear down the Weiler building. That footprint would remain. This is in addition to that building. So as far as an adaptive reuse, they plan to adaptively reuse the existing campus, and a lot of it will remain in place. I'll look to Tim.
We are knocking down the block building. That's a
The
small.
block building is the one that is coming down, but it's a smaller one.
That's a small building.
I appreciate your question about the shadow, and I think as Ruben had mentioned, the placement of the new building is set back as far as we can from the residential community to minimize the shadows. There will be some shadows cast in the morning when the sun is coming from the east and projecting to the west. But around noontime or slightly before, depending on the time of year, the sun will, fully reach the community and will, if there is shadows, we'll cast it on the Montefiore Einstein campus itself.
Do you want to touch on carbon for carbon?
Wait, hold on, AJ. The carbon, you had another. Could you repeat on the carbon emissions you said?
Yes, sir. For some context, I'm currently a master's student at Columbia University for my master's in historic preservation. We are learning about how the carbon emission cost of tearing down a building instead of repairing it or adding to it as an adaptive reuse. Do you guys know what the cost of carbon emissions would be tearing whatever you are tearing down?
Because I think we answered that by telling you that we're not tearing down the existing Weiler building. We're only tearing down a smaller building that's used for community events now, that community space, just so that we can accommodate, and push the building in more into our campus. But the Weiler campus, the actual where all of these services take place, that will continue to run. And even once we have this new building, it's still, obviously we're gonna have to repair that, but we want it all. We're gonna ultimately we have our cake and eat it too. We have a new facility with the Weiler, so that we can have all those extra. So by the way, the 420 beds is additional beds.
Right.
We're still gonna have the beds on the Weiler side. Okay. And the emergency room, all of it. So all of it is just it's an expansion. It's all going to be connected.
Wow.
So it's all in addition to what we have. It's not that we're going to move the room and then knock that down. It's all going to just stay in place.
Additional.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Just to finish. Sorry, but when you take a building down, there is expulsion of carbon emissions because those buildings had to be built. There was shipments of stone. There was all this other stuff to put that building there in the first place. Do you guys, and then if there's any asbestos or any abatements coming from the destruction of that, have you guys considered that, especially for the neighbors to be warned in advance or anything? And that was my last question. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, I say something about this? Sure.
Yeah.
So, well, maybe I should let you go first. If your answer is yes, you can share your information, but as far as I know, we haven't studied this yet.
Yeah, we haven't studied it to the degree you're asking, but it certainly will be as a part of the process.
Right. The important thing I wanted to point out, AJ, and this also speaks to your question on shadows, is that as Ruben has said a couple times, we're here early. This is our second visit, and we will be back again next year. When we come back the next time, it'll be because we'll be in the middle of the public review process known as ULURP and the environmental review process known as SEEKR for this application. Required under SEEKR are some of the studies that you're asking about. We'll have to do a very detailed, sophisticated shadows analysis that will show if and to what extent there may be shadows on the surrounding neighborhood as a result of this building. We'll also have to report on anticipated construction impacts from the project. So although we might not have the level of detail you want today, there will be very detailed documents at some point that you can review.
Thank you so much from an academic standpoint. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay and then Oral.
I'm
Okay.
sorry to interrupt again. Like I said, I was blanking out earlier. So one of my other questions was, with the loss of the current community space that the community board's been using as long as I've been in this neighborhood, 33 years, is Monty going to offer a community space so the community board and other events can still be held for the community?
Yeah, we're gonna have to, we've been talking about that, especially with the dean at Einstein, when we have a new dean. We briefed the dean not so long ago. So we're gonna have to identify a temporary space, but we're looking to see how in the new building, we would have a permanent space to make up for that loss at the block building.
That's excellent. And then one of my bigger questions is there's for many years been constant construction on Eastchester Road for one reason or another. And then there was talk of putting a bicycle lane there some time ago. With the additional beds and the additional like people using the hospital, and if additional people move into the area due to new buildings that are going to be built, is there, and I'm not against bicycles and bicycle lanes per se, but if it's going to increase congestion on Eastchester Road, A, when is the construction there ever going to finish? And B, could we maybe bypass the bicycle lane in the best interest of?
Okay, once upon a time, I was the Bronzeville president.
So that's a different.
I'm here from Montefiore. That's a great question, but is a broader question for the elected officials, DOT, and so on and so forth. We're here focused on what's gonna happen on our campus.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll reach out to my electeds. Thank you.
Oral.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes. we can
Great.
hear you.
All right, I just had a few questions, but I think that what AJ was talking about was embodied carbon. Embodied carbon is what happens when you are transporting or demoing a building. It releases carbon into the air, but you probably have to study that more if there's any embodied carbon that's going to happen when you use the materials to build the building. For example, aluminum and steel and glass give off a lot of carbon when you're manufacturing it and transporting it to the site. But that's a study you would have to do probably later on. That's what AJ was talking about, the embodied carbon. But my other question is the type of building that you're building. Have you studied it for LEED, as far as LEED silver, LEED gold, LEED platinum? Also, are you going to be using passive construction type of? I don't know if it's maybe too early in your design, and also the type of community services that you may have. And are you thinking about maybe even putting a birthing center in the space? And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
Of course. So all great points. Let's just go back to, I just want to go touch again with the first point with AJ and that you brought up with the carbon. As Adam said, I'm just coming as like a notification first, right? The studies and all, and the official process, whether it's the SEEKR process, all of the official studies come with the ULURP. And we'll have to do all that in order to satisfy that moving forward. What I just wanted to do is just make everybody aware, have the conversation. That's number one. Number two, I'm sorry, before you talk about birthing, I'll handle the birthing. That's something that the borough president, the state senator has asked for. That's just to go back to Bob's gotcha question. You know, Bob wants to play gotcha all the time, Bob Press. When it comes to what the building actually looks like and what's in the building, that's above my pay grade. That's after. What we're trying to do is just get the ULURP and see what's the maximum FAR that we can get. The reality is by the time that we get to next year, and outside of the people in this community board, it could be that other folks still want the building to be less in height. And if they do that, that's fine, but we may have to have less beds. It's fine, but we may have to have less parking. It's fine, but we may have to have less, services in the building. And then guess what? The more they do that, maybe it satisfies their height and other things, but it's gonna sacrifice best in class. And we're not gonna fight anybody. What I'm saying is, if we get to that place, we just don't want to be blamed for giving you something that's not the very best. And if us have the very, very best, this is what it would take. But people, say, well, we don't want too much traffic, or we don't want too much this, or we don't want too much height. Fine. We'll shave it up. We'll shave it down. But whoever asks us and whoever forces us to shave it down, because we're not going to fight, you have to own responsibility to everybody else that the Bronx just didn't get the best in class. We don't want that. Dr. O doesn't want that. So whether it's their thing, that's all conversations the borough president, the elected officials will have with Dr. O and our CFO. Whether or not something's going to be moved or not, who knows? But we're not there yet. What the building's going to look like, whether or not it's going to be LEEDs. I'm sorry, you said LEEDs. We are obviously going to have to aim for energy efficiency, and we'll do the best that we can in that. But that all comes after we get the permission to actually build something.
That's fantastic. I'm just making you guys. I know you're aware of it, but just wanted to know if those things were on your table to look at too. That's great to know that they are. Fantastic.
The reason why I wanted to come, and we started last year is A, this needs to happen. B, we all know how quickly things go around that are not factual. For instance, where the supermarket was over there, and they had the liquor store? Everyone said that Montefiore brought that up and that we took the supermarket away from the community. We don't.
Yeah.
I was upset.
But we don't own that, right?
I heard it. I did.
Ms. Randall, did you hear that?
I did.
Joe Simone got that property. We don't own it. So what we don't want is, and what we going earlier is to let people know that we're thinking of doing this. And yes, it's going to be a particular height and this and that, but this is so that we don't play the game of telephone, where by the time something starts, it ends up where they're saying that we're going to go something that it's not, and so on and so forth. We just want to be mindful and respectful of the community and the Bronx. So a lot of what's going on now, or starting last year, these are all like unofficial conversations. At some point, to your point and to AJ's point, the conversations have to be official. It's called the ULURP process. And that's what studies, and we get more in depth and answer deeper questions about environmental stuff and traffic studies and the studies of the shadows and so on and so forth. We'll get to that. But that's when we have to satisfy more of the technical aspects in a more official capacity. Right now, this is unofficial.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Cynthia, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to chime in, and one of the things that is often overlooked is that the Bronx is, in terms of health disparities, we are way up there with the health disparities. And how else are we going to improve the health of people in the Bronx if we don't have the facilities to provide the care that Bronxites need? I know that recently Northwell had a big, rezoning issue, and they also came to the table and they managed to negotiate, and they did drop from a 400 something, foot to 300 something, got approved by the city council. To me, healthcare is always a plus. We are getting sicker by the day as a population, and we're only going to need more care down the line. So I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to kind of throw that perspective in there.
But let me just say something about their project in Manhattan. Well, they only went to the community during the ULURP process. So imagine if I'm coming to you guys now and we're in the middle of the ULURP process. That kind of sucks, right? And here we are 2 years, we started 2 years before the actual ULURP process. They only went to the community board and had the community forums and the community conversation on the actual part of the ULURP process. So folks didn't really have too much time to react, and that's disrespectful. That's just my point on that. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you
for your presentation. I definitely appreciate this. I'm hoping that even when this does finally come to existing, they have a lot of more mental health services. Especially being on that campus, and Waters Place is right there, and we have a lot of shelters being built and just a lot more mental health going up. So I'm hoping that's in there somewhere. I don't have any more questions. I think this was a great presentation, and it's being proactive.
Thank you. And let me just start by saying this, and I know we already done beyond. The fact of the matter is this, going back to what Cynthia said. Yes, the Bronx has been, in last place in health for many, many years. Something that I tried to address when I was the borough president. We had Not 62. We had all these campaigns to address that. And if we do this right, between what we have on our side of the track, what we have right now on the metro side of the track, what Joe Simone is planning to bring over there, what's already there with the psychiatric center. If we do this correct, we can be and we will be what I call the Silicon Valley of wellness, life sciences, and healthcare. What Silicon Valley is to tech, that's what we can be here. We can be the model of the rest of the country, where we can do, where we can address all of our, sicknesses and ailments, but also imagine us having the scientists coming out of Einstein that came out of the STEAM Center, right? Imagine that narrative where a young lady from the Bronx went to a public high school, went to the STEAM Center, got a full ride to Einstein, became a scientist, and solved asthma or cancer. We could do that right here, and with the train station there, we're going to be able to invite the best scientists and doctors from Connecticut to come to us. We're gonna and not only that, if which is out of my jurisdiction now, but the other stuff that's being built there with the amenities, this could all be a destination point, which could be a boom to the local economy if it's done right. We've seen it done right before in other parts of the city. We've seen it done wrong. Montefiore wants to be the leader at making sure that we do this in a way where we're benefiting, where we're solving life, where we're creating jobs, where we're becoming a model for the rest of the nation, and that we're adding on to all the goodness that's supposed to come to the area. And we could only do that with your support.
Yes.
Great presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When can we find this presentation? Do you have any?
No, we'll have to send you guys, we'll send you guys a deck.
Okay, great.
Again, remember, this is all like unofficial stuff, so we've just been going around, but we'll send you guys a deck. Okay.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you. Okay. Nice to meet you. Everyone.
See you.
Thank you for your time.
Ruben, I'm sorry, if you can make sure that your team leaves cards. Yes.
Yeah, okay. I have a digital card. You know what?
If you don't mind sharing with Juanita, who'll share with me.
Well, I'm not at all. Here, you just do that and then you share. Go to your camera. It's like doing the QR code. You got it?
Yep.
There you go.
Now you're cutting it.
So amazing here. I'm with you, Adam. Old school.
Like a QR code.
Okay, I'm saved it.
You got it? Got it. Okay.
Thank you all for the update.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you. Is this open here?
Okay. Cynthia, I'll send it to you. Okay, so,
Thank you.
we don't have any gallery session, right? It's one.
Can go this way.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I know, I know you,
I'm gonna send Jeremy an official formal email requesting the letter.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
well,
sorry.
Juanita, I know you took informal questions during the presentations. I don't think you had like the, official gallery sessions. If you want to do that now, you can. Up to you.
Yeah, I don't think we did either. It's okay, because we took we took, unofficial questions. Sorry about that. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm gonna move on to motion. There's no motions. We don't have any motions, correct?
There's the question of the letter of support for Propel.
Sure. So we're gonna do a motion for that?
You can't, I mean, you have a quorum there, unless you don't feel ready to,
Um, can we do that in the full board?
we can ask,
Jose?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
We can talk, no, I think it's, as long as it's done by the end of the month, was there,
Right.
there,
Also, okay, so maybe we should do the motion now then, because it's the 21st. And they would need the letter of support by the end of the month.
right. And you do, you have a quorum of the, what is it? Housing.
Yes, we have housing.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're doing a motion for a letter of support for New York, what is it, New York Propel?
Or Propel Energy.
Energy, a letter of support.
You need somebody to second it.
Second, okay. Okay, that's what we're doing. Second by Christine.
And then if you need to have discussion, you can have discussion, and then any objections, abstentions.
Okay. Well, I don't, we could do that, we do that now, or we
Yeah,
do that?
any discussion?
Any
We can do it
discussion?
now.
Okay, letter of support. No discussions, okay, no discussion. Okay.
Yes, Bob actually just made a valid point. Gallery session on the motion.
I'm sorry. Say that
Yeah,
again.
sorry. We needed to have the official gallery session first, so that in case the folks in the gallery want to give
Okay. So we'll go back to gallery session.
Yep, thanks, Bob.
Okay, Bob, your hand is up.
Yeah, I still am opposed to this motion.
Okay.
And technically, this is a meeting of the three committees. And in previous meetings, all three committees were needed to vote on motions for this committee, this joint committee. It's a joint committee agenda, and there is no quorum of the joint committee. You have just a quorum of one committee of the three, whereas in the past, you needed a quorum of all three motions. I'm just giving that as a point of information.
Thanks,
That's you,
Bob.
Madam Chair.
You're correct. Thank you so much. So yeah, we can table that then. Thanks so much about that, Bob. AJ, you had something?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, I just had two quick questions. The first question was, if the former borough president is presenting before you guys and he appointed some of you guys, shouldn't there be like disclosures or recusals from that vote whenever that does come up? And then the second one is, I believe it's called the Marshallou Pelham Greenway. It goes through Marshallou Parkway around Bronx Park into CB11. It is completely torn up, and before like the winter freeze thaw happens, I wanted to know if you like your, I don't know if it's the land use or environmental, it might also be parks, can talk to like Parks Department about paving it. I know it's a part of 11, 7, and 12 because it's like goes around all of you guys, but on one side it's paved, the other side it's all torn up. If you're rolling around or even with a baby carriage, it's kind of dangerous. Thank you so much.
So AJ, I do think that that's a question probably for land use and probably parks. Am I correct, Cynthia?
Actually, what we can do, AJ, if you don't mind, send me and Jeremy an email, and then we'll route it appropriately so that we can figure out who's the best person.
And then
Okay, thank you,
what was
everybody.
the
Have a good
first
night.
question? I'm sorry, AJ. What was the first
Oh,
thing
sorry.
about
Yes, ma'am. If
voting?
the former borough president appointed people to the board, there's a conflict of interest there. How do we know he didn't like stack the board with people that said yes once he got this nice job at Montefiore once he was done? I believe there should be like some kind of recusals or disclosures that he appointed the people when they do take that vote. If it does get to that point, and I don't know if you guys vote today or in the ULURP at some point, I think that should be disclosed just up front. Thank you again.
We'll make note of that, AJ.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And so that ends the gallery session. And then the motion, we will table that, being that it's a joint committee and it's only one committee here. So we'll move on to any old business. I see the meeting with, Department of Buildings. I know we were waiting, I guess, to get a date to meet with them, Cynthia. I know we sent a question from someone from the community and we didn't get anything back yet.
Right.
Okay, so we're still working on that. Any new business? I think we have any new business going on. And sorry, just to go back with old business. The fire on Wallace Avenue. I did get to speak to some of the tenants and they are still, a lot of them are still displaced. We talked about a few of the some of the buildings that are being built up in the neighborhood and wanting to reach out to, some of the developers to see if they can get any, priorities. We did talk about meeting with Jamal Bailey's office. They've already went to Kevin Riley's office, so now they want to go to Jamal Bailey's office to see what's happening. It's going close to a year soon in January, and a lot of them would like to still come back to their own neighborhoods. So I just wanted to bring that up, that we've been really trying to figure out some way, somehow for everyone who are, not probably everyone, but for the majority to be together again back in their community, places they've been, a lot of them been there 20+ years. So,
Can I say something on that? I was asked to assist the tenants and I submitted about close to 40 applications to the new building that's coming up on Arlington Avenue. When I was doing it, it seemed as if they had hope. And now that the building is almost up, I can't reach the manager. I cannot reach the owner anymore. I made several trips up to the management company in White Plains. That's where I submitted. I volunteered to help us sort it out. As of today, I have not heard from her. So I'm not sure if that Arlington Avenue that because I met the tenants, I had a meeting with them, I was asked to assist them. I don't think the hope is going to be hopeful now because I don't know what the intent is. but I would make sure that I go back up there next week because I get a lot of calls from those that I took the applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did go, I also I took down 6 buildings, brand new buildings in the same area, literally across the street. There's 2 buildings right on Wallace being built right across the street, right next to each other. So I did take down some numbers for some of the property owners to see what we can do. I mean, it's worth a try just to, see about priority. I do know some state that a lot of them do not qualify for the vouchers and, things like that. So then there's the things where some people are on fixed incomes and, so it's a lot going on with that, but just don't want them to think that we have forgotten. It was something very big in our community and, I would like to see that at least some of them come back to the community. Yes, Kay.
Thank you for acknowledging me. I know I've taken up a lot of time tonight.
It's
I'm
okay.
very, very passionate about housing. I have been active in the housing community since 1979. And I say anti-gentrification not in a bad way, but if you look at things that happened like on the Lower East Side in the late 70s, how many people were pushed out because NYU wanted to have campus this and, housing for students and faculty. Developers came along and it's like, well, we can make a lot of money on apartments here. I've seen this on the Upper West Side, the West Side of Queens. I've been doing this a lot of years, and the whole system in and of itself is just discriminatory. Developers, commercial property owners have been allowed to run wild for decades. So trying to get these people rehoused, there are people that were victims of fires and even Superstorm Sandy that lost everything, jobs, houses, cars, and they're still not fully housed. So
No.
it just takes many, many years after, and we've had in the last few years several really big fires here in the Bronx. We've got hundreds of people that are displaced. So basically, it's a dream at this point to get them fully housed because the system is discriminatory. If you don't have credit, if you're not properly or fully employed, if you're senior and on a fixed income, if you are mentally unwell and on a fixed income, blah, blah, blah. It just goes, it's just awful. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
praying every day for these people because I know what it is to be homeless. I've been there more than once. And it wasn't due to a fire either. So trying to get these people rehoused is going to be an uphill battle, but I'm totally in support of you guys. We just have to press upon, and there's hundreds of owners in
Yes.
this entire community, whether they're managements and LLCs or whatever. We just kind of have to put pressure. And even some of the private homeowners. And now with the city of Yes, that you can do the accessory dwellings in your basement and backyards, we have to try to reach out to people to see if we can't get them to maybe do something to help these people.
Right.
And it's not always about the almighty dollar. Anyway,
Thanks so much,
taking up
Kay.
too much of your time tonight. I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Kay. Yes, Oral.
Well, unfortunately, it is all about the almighty dollar in the U.S. I have to, hate to swallow the truth about it. As you know, it's a capitalist society, and people are going to build buildings to make profit, unless it's something else. So until that type of system changes, the hard truth is, and this is truth, most people may not like to hear that, but if you don't qualify, if you don't make enough income, you're not going to do well in New York City, especially. That's the way it works, I've tried to, you have to basically become a socialist society if you want those type of changes that Kay is talking about. But right now, we're not in that. And right now you have a system that you have to meet certain criteria before you can own a home. own rent a unit in a nice neighborhood, and that's the way it is right now in America, and especially in New York City.
It's unfortunate. And we do talk a lot about the AMI in the housing committee meetings. And, you know, that's not even taken into consideration anymore. So,
Yeah, the AMI is a joke, but
yeah.
how it's calculated is not, doesn't
Mhm.
make any sense to you know, it's everyone's income, and
Mhm.
income in US, as you, especially New York City, varies drastically.
Right.
Some people may be on your block making over $200,000 a year, and someone else is making 60.
Right. Yep.
And so when you do that calculation, it's very difficult to come up with a number that makes sense for someone making $60,000, $80,000 a year.
Mhm. Okay, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed here with some type of something, I don't know. But and then there's no new business, so I guess we can end our meeting.
Call for motion.
Oh,
Motion
one
to
second.
adjourn.
Okay, we're adjourning at 8:29. Thank you, everyone.
Nice.
Good night, everyone.
Night, thank you.
Night, Junior.